They call it the cloud office. It has the best view in the city, the most dangerous commute, and a strict no-mistakes policy. When you spill coffee at your desk, it hits the floor. When you drop something from up here, it hits the street at terminal velocity. Welcome to the life of a high-rise tower crane operator. The day doesn't start in the sky, it starts in the dark, usually around 5:30 a.m. Before the city has even had its first cup of coffee, the operator is already at the base of the skeleton that will eventually become a skyscraper. The ground is a mess of mud, concrete trucks, and shouting foremen, but up there, 800 feet above the pavement, it's a different world. The first challenge is just getting to work. There is no button you press to whisk you to the top floor. You start with the unmatched, that rattling external construction elevator that clings to the side of the building like a parasite. It screams and shakes its way up the concrete core, but it only goes so far. Usually it stops a good 10 or 12 stories below the crane itself. The rest of the commute is manual. You have to climb. This is the part nobody tells you about. You're climbing a vertical steel ladder inside a narrow mast with the wind howling through the gaps. It's a 20-minute cardio workout before the shift even begins. Your thighs burn, your breath fogs in the cold morning air, and you can feel the entire structure swaying slightly as the wind hits it. If you're claustrophobic, or if you have even a mild fear of heights, you wouldn't make it past the first rung. Once you pop the hatch and step out onto the turntable, the world opens up. You are standing on a metal grate the size of a doormat, suspended in the void. This is the moment where you clip on your safety harness, take a deep breath, and look at the sunrise painting the horizon. It's a moment of absolute peace before the chaos begins. You step into the cab. It's small, about 4 feet by 4 feet, a glass box in the sky. This is your home for the next 10 to 12 hours. You have your heated seat, your array of computer screens monitoring wind speed and load weight, and your 2 joysticks. It feels less like construction equipment and more like the cockpit of a fighter jet. But here's the reality check. Once you are up here, you stay up here. There is no popping down to the food truck for lunch. There is no walking down the hall to the restroom. You bring everything you need for survival in a backpack. Lunch, water, and yes, an empty bottle for when nature calls. It's the unglamorous secret of the trade. You have to manage your liquid intake like a science experiment because climbing down takes 30 minutes, and that's 30 minutes the job site shuts down. And on a site burning thousands of dollars an hour, the crane does not stop. The radio crackles to life. This is the voice of the banksman, or the rigger. This person is your eyes. One of the terrifying truths of crane operation is that often you are working completely blind. You are lowering a 10-ton steel beam behind a concrete wall or down into an elevator shaft. You can't see the load. You can't see the workers. You are relying entirely on the voice in your ear telling you, cable down, easy, swing left, stop. The trust between an operator and their banksman is sacred. If they say stop, you stop. Immediately. You don't ask why. You just freeze. Because stop usually means you are inches away from crushing a person or shattering $1 million worth of glass curtain wall. Then there is the physics of it. A crane isn't a rigid stick. It's a giant fishing rod. When you pick up a 20-ton generator, the steel arm, the jib, actually bends. It bows down. When you release that load, the crane springs back up. You feel every movement in the seat of your pants. And then there's the swing. The wind up here is a constant enemy. It wants to spin the load. It wants to push the crane. If you swing a heavy load too fast and stop suddenly, the momentum keeps going. The load swings out, pulling the crane with it. It's a dance. You have to counter-steer, moving the crane toward the swing to catch it, just like balancing a broom on your palm. It requires a level of focus that is exhausting. You are constantly calculating geometry, wind resistance, and inertia in your head, all while making movements with your hands that are accurate to within a millimeter. By 11 a.m., the sun is high, and the cab can turn into a greenhouse. Even with AC, the glare is intense. You are looking down at the city, watching the traffic jams form. It's a strange psychological state, absolute isolation in the middle of a metropolis. You see millions of people rushing around, stressed, honking horns, but up here it's just the hum of the electric motors and the wind. You see weather fronts approaching hours before the people on the ground do. You see the curvature of the earth. Lunch is eaten with your feet propped up on the front glass, looking down at the rooftops of other skyscrapers. It's the most expensive view in real estate, and it's all yours. But you can't get too comfortable. The wind alarm is always watching. If gusts exceed 35 or 40 miles per hour, you have to shut it down. The crane has to weather vane, meaning you release the brakes and let the giant machine spin freely with the wind so it doesn't snap in half. Sitting in a freely spinning crane during a storm is an experience that will test the stomach of even the toughest veteran. The afternoon shift is usually the hardest. Mental fatigue sets in. Your eyes are tired from squinting. Your back aches from sitting. But this is when accidents happen. Complacency is the killer. You have to treat the last lift of the day with the same paranoia and respect as the first lift. You are moving bundles of rebar, pallets of drywall, buckets of wet concrete. Up and down, up and down. The rhythm is hypnotic, but you have to fight the trance. As the sun begins to set, the city transforms. The streetlights flicker on, creating a grid of gold below you. The shadows of the neighboring buildings stretch out long and dark. The radio chatter dies down. The ground crew is packing up. Tower 1, that's a wrap. Secure the hook. Those are the best words of the day. You bring the hook up tight, engage the slew brakes, and power down the screens. The sudden silence in the cab is deafening. You pack your trash, grab your empty thermos, and step back out onto the grate. The climb down is easier on the lungs but harder on the knees. Gravity is working with you, but your legs are jelly from sitting all day. You descend through the darkness of the mast, back into the alamac, and finally, your boots hit the mud of the ground level. The noise of the street hits you instantly. Sirens, horse, people talking. You feel heavy like a diver coming up from the deep ocean. You walk to your truck, dusty and tired. Before you drive away, you always do it. You can't help it. You look up, way up. You see the red warning light blinking on the tip of the crane, floating in the black sky. It looks impossibly high. It looks terrifying, and you think to yourself, I was just up there. You drive home past buildings you worked on 5-10 years ago. You point them out to your family. I built that, you say. I put the spire on that one. It's a legacy written in steel and glass. It's a lonely, high-pressure, physically demanding life. But tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off at 5:30, you'll do it all again. Because once you've worked in the clouds, the ground just feels a little too crowded.